Audition?
Yeah, I'm about to hit audition. Welcome into Hand Raise, guys. I got audition up. I just got to hit the button, and then we'll do the formal little introduction thingy. I'm Neal McCready. You probably know me by now. That's Chase Parham.
If you're here, decent chance you've seen us at some point over the course of your YouTube existence. If you're brand new tonight for some weird reason, hello, Kentucky fan, South Carolina fan, whomever you are. So
hit the subscribe button. I know we have a Missouri fan because they want us to talk about Chris Kiffin. We'll do that in a little bit. But first, I'm going to.
We have a Missouri fan in the stream?
Not in the stream necessarily, but he sent me a Twitter thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. We can talk about that.
So here we go. I'm hitting the button now.
Welcome in to Hand Raise, guys, the Oxford Exxon Podcast on this Thursday evening, 7 o'clock. It was a gorgeous day in Oxford today, up into the high 50s, low 60s today. I think we get down back into the 30s tonight. There's your weather forecast for the day. I don't know what we're watching. I assume a little NBA. It's about all it's on tonight, I think.
Yeah, I turned Rocket Spurs on just for the drama.
The Rockets are a story right now, so that's fair. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about tonight, as always. We'll take your calls. React to you guys in the stream. Yeah, Urban Meyer, the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Is it done? Is it official?
I think it's done, right? Yeah.
Well, Carson and I were taping our show, and
I thought it was done.
I was kind of locked into that.
I mean, it's as official as it can be, I think, the day that everything's getting done. But, yeah, it's
okay.
He is the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we'll talk about that and more on the show, brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Download the Speed Pass Plus app. Use it. It's an efficient way to pay right there at the pump. And what happens is you earn points. And when you earn points, you save money with the Oxford Exxon at all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. Stop by the hot case inside, get some barbecue, get some chicken, get some a lot of different options there inside the Oxford Exxon. Or the lunch special, it's $5.69 every single day. 2 sides of bread, a 32-ounce drink. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around, or you can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. You'll love the product. You'll love the service. Corey wants to be a car guy. He wants to be a truck guy. He'll prove that to you when you make the call. 662-257-1900. Guest, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. We'll take your calls later tonight on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. That is Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. I paused for a minute because I looked for the Skype icon down here, and it's not here. I'll just have to open it up, and it'll be all right. Yeah, this computer's been asked to do a lot today, and it's protesting a little.
It's responding to that?
It's fine, but it's telling me that, hey, big fella, you've got a little too much going on, and you tried to reset us, and you shouldn't have. That's what it's basically saying. Anyways, Rafters on the Square in Oxford, also Rafters in New Albany. Be a great place this weekend to watch some college basketball. Ole Miss in Georgia, 11 a.m. on Saturday. And then, of course, the NFL. Biggest weekend probably in the NFL. 4 playoff games. You got the Chiefs back in action this week. You got the Packers in action. You get the Breeze, Brady, Saints, Bucks game. So there's a lot there. Rafters would be a great place to check that out. So Rafters, Music and Food on the Square in Oxford and in New Albany.
Yes, CJ saying, I've got a buddy that's been obsessing over potential Drew Brees replacements who's on the short list. I mean, if I could grab somebody who can be a bridge that, maybe a Matt Stafford. I mean, maybe he's got something left for a year or two. Maybe something like that I'm good with.
Well, that would make sense.
I've made it pretty clear that just in my fandom brain, I would rather have Jameis than Taysom as a bridge to whatever's next. I do think they're going to potentially draft a quarterback. I think there's a decent chance that you've got a Kyle Trask or somebody in New Orleans as a potential next quarterback. But yeah, I'm Stafford, Jameis. I just don't want anything to do with Taysom Hill. I just think he lowers your ceiling to a point that does not make it doable. Because that's the goal right now. It might not be Drew Brees, but you're trying to extend this window because the rest of the roster is pretty damn good. So that's your goal right now if you're the Saints. I think that's kind of the thing.
I agree completely. That's got to be your goal. Your goal is you want to win this year. Yeah. Where next year doesn't matter.
You want to win 3 more games. That's the goal.
You want to win a Super Bowl. It takes the pressure off. Lets you do some different things. Lets you celebrate next year, even if next year's a step back. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
We're just being frank. But Stafford makes some sense. What makes sense is if you can get a guy to come there on a little bit of a bargain discount.
Somebody wants to win, comes into a ready-made situation.
Chase a ring.
Yeah, you're looking – I mean, I get it's different and whatever, but you're looking for your Peyton if you're the Broncos to just keep this thing going for a couple of years and see what you can get done and see how it finishes up.
Yeah.
No, I won't hate Brady if the Saints lose. I don't have a problem with Tom Brady. There's no emotional baggage between Tom Brady and myself at this moment. So, no. I mean, look, the Saints have lost plenty of playoff games recently. I do not just automatically hate the opposing quarterbacks because of that.
Here's the problem with some of the names in the thread. Dak Prescott's going to go to Dallas because they're going to pay him all the money because it makes sense at this point to pay him the money. And Deshaun Watson would force the Saints to mortgage everything.
They'd have to give up what they have to get it done. And that's the whole point. You're trying to do one guy to keep what you have.
Yeah. Russell Wilson.
You're trying to hang on to Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas and Marcus and Marshawn Lattimore and the whole house.
It's taking an aging quarterback at the end of his career
and giving him one last shot at glory.
Yeah.
We just get this done.
Is there just a little bit of juice left?
Don't need it.
You're not getting
a year or two.
You're not getting a fruit full of juice. You're just trying to get enough to garnish the drink one time. You got to start thinking about a long-term quarterback too. I mean, this is.
And I think they're going to draft somebody in hope. I mean, I do think that's the plan.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look, it's tough every time this happens with anybody. I mean, the good news is you had somebody you didn't have to worry about for 15 years. Bad news, you got to replace that person. And that's where they're at right now.
That happens.
I mean, they've had their quarterback without even a question since 2006. So, it's time. Yeah, I don't see Eli coming back and playing for the Saints next year. I just don't see that one happening.
No.
Front office all over that.
He has spent the year
being a giant.
Being a big-time giant. The kid's decked out in giant gear. Hey, it's game day. Sloppy Joes.
We are a Giants family.
Yeah. No.
Eli is very aware of one person, one team. Hey, I'm a Giant.
All right, Hunter Ross has this is a name that's realistic. Gardner Minshew.
Right. He had a nice year last year.
He did.
He had a nice year.
The question is he better than Taysom Hill?
But why does that have to be the question? Let's go find somebody that's better than both of them. You have one on your roster.
Maybe.
You have a higher upside.
Well, yes.
You have a higher upside. Now, look, the floor, I mean,
that's the problem.
He's cratering in.
The problem with Jameis is that, yes, the upside's really high. It's like up in the Rockies somewhere. But the downside is like the base of the Grand Canyon.
He got LASIK. It's all good.
Yeah, well.
It's all good.
I hope so. Still, I mean, he is woo and woo. I mean, he goes both ways.
Yeah, I knew you were kidding, CJ. I didn't think we were legitimately talking about Eli being a Saint next year. I
mean, I have to study a list of what we're looking at here, but I mean, you know, it's trade for Nick Foles. He's under control. I think the Bears would let you have him.
Phillip Rivers would actually be available if the Saints want to make a run at that for a year or two.
Well, now Phillip Rivers makes some sense. The question for Phillip Rivers would be, if I've got one more year left in me, should I just stay here? I know the system. I know what I'm doing.
Or do I go chase a ring?
Yeah.
Because Indy's not bad, but they're not winning the Super Bowl.
No, they're not winning the Super Bowl. But he would make some sense.
I don't hate that name.
No.
If he's got anything left, I don't hate that for a year or two.
He's got some stuff left. I watched him this year.
He's okay.
He's all right. He's not the old Phillip Rivers, but he's 40-something. He's Eli's age.
Yeah, because he's even older. Yeah, I mean, he
might be a year older than Eli.
Yeah,
but they're the same age roughly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 40, but Saints just played a year with a 40-year-old. Yeah, I mean, I like Jameis, but if I'm the Saints, I'm scared to death about going, all right, Jameis is our guy.
Here's the keys.
Now, I will say this. If you win a Super Bowl, it's easier to do that.
It is.
It's easier to go, you know what?
See what we got.
He's got a cannon. Let's see what happens.
Because the physical tools are not in doubt.
I mean, the physical tools are so superior to Drew Brees that it's not funny.
Yeah.
But it's not even the mental. It's just decision making. It's again, the ceiling is off the charts. He was the first pick in the draft. You don't get taken first if you don't have high potential.
Yeah.
But the floor for him is the base of the Grand Canyon.
Jamarcus Russell says hello.
But Jamarcus had worlds of potential.
Yeah. Oh, no, biggest arm you potentially ever seen.
I watched Jamarcus Russell throw a football 70 yards from his knee.
Yeah. I've seen that video.
I saw it in person.
Yeah.
Damnedest thing I've ever seen in my life.
That seems almost impossible, like getting enough leverage to...
Had a monster arm. Jamarcus is really a sad story. I mean, it's a sad story. He could not have gone to a worse place.
Yeah. There's a lot there.
There's a lot there. Kiffin was there at the time, right?
That's what I was trying to remember. Was that him?
It's actually a conversation I'd love to have with Lane Kiffin, is the Jamarcus Russell story.
Is that right?
For some reason, that feels right. For some reason, something sticks in my head that says that's not who Lane wanted.
Well, funny you said that. Just pulled it up. Headline right here. Now that Lane Kiffin is squarely in the media sights, was hiring at Florida Atlantic. I'm reading from 2006, obviously, right here. There are plenty of things to rehash for Kiffin's sordid past. The football coach, times with the Oakland Raiders, blah, 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 blah. Kiffin tells Pete Thamel that he begged Al Davis to draft Calvin Johnson instead of Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah. It's actually a conversation.
Kiffin also adds that Davis based the Jamarcus evaluation on a single game and that he didn't mind being canned by Davis because Al Davis fires everybody. He spends little time reflecting on the Raiders other than pointing out he begged Davis to use the number one pick on Calvin Johnson instead of Jamarcus Russell. Kiffin says Jeff Garcia had agreed to come to Oakland in free agency, and David based his Russell pick off evaluating the television copy of the LSU Sugar Bowl blowout at Notre Dame. He shrugs. The Raiders wasn't that hard. Al Davis fires everybody. So. Lane says he would have had Jeff Garcia at quarterback and was trying to get Calvin Johnson.
Well, Calvin had a pretty good career.
It worked out all right. And Garcia was that before or after kind of his resurgence? Because he had a pretty good kind of late career there.
I tell you what, it was after that, because what I remember most about Garcia was he was the quarterback of the Eagles that night that the Saints beat the Eagles in the playoffs, and Garcia, if I'm recalling correctly, played out of his freaking mind and scared the hell out of the Saints that day.
He did. I do remember that.
Remember that game?
27-24 final. Yeah.
So yeah. I'm wearing a...
I think it's 27-24. It was 27-24.
That sounds right.
I think that's right.
The game was a little freaky.
That was when, was it Reggie that was blown up on the very first play of the game? That little swing pass out there, and he just got obliterated?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Deuce played out of his mind that night. You all right?
Yeah, I got some water down the wrong way.
It happens. So we've got some bacon from Billy's Bacon. And here's the hat, Fairhope, Alabama, one of the new advertisers on the Soft Verbal podcast. A bunch of those guys stepped up. I offered really a ridiculously affordable price.
An entry level, dip your toe in the water kind of deal.
Dip your toe in the water on the podcasting. So Chase and I have some bacon from Billy's. I'll tell you a little bit about this bacon. It says it's serenaded by songwriters, savored by carnivores. You can check it out at billysbacon.com, B-I-L-L-E bacon, B-I-L-L-E-S bacon, billysbacon.com. It's down in Fairhope. They can ship to you. If you order 5 pounds of the bacon, you get a free hat just like this. It's a 8-day curing process, Chase, not 7, not 9, 8 days. Billy's an Ole Miss guy. He got into the restaurant business. He worked in the Ruby Tuesday chain for like 20 years. Okay. Got out, opened his place up in down in Fairhope. It's kind of a burger joint. I think that's what he calls it. But he uses pink salt to cure the bacon. He's got a process that he uses. Only uses dark sugar from the finest molasses to make the bacon. He says you'll never buy supermarket bacon again once you try it. So what we did was we just put this in the oven, 350 for about, 12, 14 minutes.
It's thick bacon. I'm a fan of thick bacon. I don't want something.
It's really good.
It's really good. It's got I had no idea what to expect. It's got like a smoky sweetness in the middle that you typically would not find on a lot of bacons. That's different. Because typically I do eat Wright's brand bacon, and it's got a lot more kind of smoky sweetness in the middle there.
Boy, that
it's
smoke
really good.
flavor's delicious, isn't it?
Yeah.
Man, that's good. Yeah, now I want to put that in the middle of a cheeseburger.
Yeah, because that was not what I was expecting at all.
No, I didn't know what to expect. I was just told it was absolutely fantastic, and it is. You can get it in the big chunk and chop it up yourself.
Yeah.
Or you can order it sliced. Again, it's BillesBacon.com. BILLES bacon.com. Here, I'll put it in the stream. That's what I need to do. That's really, really good.
Yeah, a burger is the answer.
Yeah.
Off a grill.
Yeah.
That's the combination that makes the most sense. It would also liven up your club sandwich as well.
Man, that's fantastic.
So, anyway.
Yeah, it would liven up a club sandwich. But a cheeseburger is the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, that's the play.
Yeah.
Because it has almost kind of a barbecue sauce type kind of taste to it.
Luke says, I can see Neal enjoying it, but also trying to figure out how many Peloton rides he has to do to work off that one bite.
Straight protein. It's all good.
Yeah. So, again, order 5 pounds. And trying to remember, did we put a promo code with that? We probably needed to. Make sure you tell them when you order. Make sure you tell them in your cart in the comment section that you heard about it on the podcast, or give them a call. I'll put that number up as well. Give them a call, place that order. Tell them you heard about it on the podcast. Mention the soft verbal. You can mention this. It's fine. Order 5 pounds and you get one of these hats from Billy's. They're cool. Cool hat. Yeah, I have a cocktail. Chase doesn't, but I have some Blanton's on the rocks. I don't know if that's a cocktail or just Blanton's on the rocks.
You got a lot of Blanton's.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little more full of a glass, and you walked in. I went, okay,
well, it's a day. T, I wants to know if I'll say this bacon slaps. It does.
Good.
It does. Yeah. So anyway, what were we talking about? The bacon distraction.
Jamarcus Russell, Lane Kiffin. I don't know. Whatever. It's fine.
Jamarcus he's one of the best high school quarterbacks I've ever seen. He went to LSU. He had a good career there. Wasn't great. It was good. With some warning signs. Jamarcus had problem with the people around him. And when he went into the NFL, that was probably the worst place he could have gone. And the people around him were a problem. And he ate his way out of the league. He never really understood that he had to have more than physical talent. He got by on his physical talent for so long because it was exceptional. And then he just busted. One of the biggest busts in the history of the league. And I hate that because Jamarcus is a nice kid. Was a nice guy. He was a kid when I was dealing with him. And there were people around him that you tried to tell him, man, you got the world in your fingertips and you're going to blow it.
Who was his number 2 out of high school? If he hadn't gone to LSU, where was he going?
Florida State.
Okay.
Yeah, for the longest time, that's where I thought he was going. And then Alabama made a late run. He probably would have been better off going to Auburn. Needed to go someplace.
Where did he go to high school?
Williamson, I believe.
Okay.
Isn't that right? Someone in the threads
Grun?
Someone in the thread said he played against him down in Mobile.
Okay.
I want to say Williamson. It sounds right. It's been a minute.
Hunter, there's not. Yeah, boy, JM. Yes, you should always open your Elmer tea. The answer is yes to that always. Hunter, besides New Orleans, Tampa Bay, what other games intrigue you? Frankly, there's not one that's not intriguing this week. I can find a reason for all 4 games.
Browns Chiefs intrigued the hell out of me.
That's my least intriguing one because I think there's a possibility the Chiefs just blow them out. But if it's a game, it's a hell of a story.
But if you go pull up the Chiefs' scores this year,
they don't blow a lot of people out.
Not even a little bit.
The Saints played a horrific game of football, and the Chiefs beat them by 3. Like, the Chiefs dominated the football game, but couldn't separate. They couldn't just go get it.
Well, they didn't blow out Tampa. They didn't blow out a bunch of people.
I mean, I'm all in on the Bills this week. I think that's a fun story.
Yeah, the Jamarcus Russell, Nick Saban, Neal McCready story. Wow. I should have, at that day, I probably should have said, Laura, we're not going to be here long. Yeah, he was at Williamson. Grind says I was right. See, the memory hasn't completely faded. I still have my moments where I can pluck something out of this foggy brain of mine. I answered a question honestly on a radio show. The next thing you know, Nick Saban wants to talk.
Never a good sign.
Mm-mm.
That's not.
No. It was a warning sign. And I knew it. Nick Saban had more power than Houston Nutt did. Let's put it that way.
He could get more things done at that moment. That's
I mean, keeping it real.
No news at all, but I've gotten asked this question about 47 times. The SEC schedule for baseball was known today. It was not released today. They had a teleconference this morning between the coaches, and the SEC sent the coaches the schedule and basically said, hey, does this work with y'all's exam schedules? Are you home when you're supposed to be home? Can you sign off on this and make it all good? And they're in the process of sending that back to the league to be announced. The only thing I was told for sure is it's not the same order as last year. Same teams, same locations, but at least some semblance of a different order for that one. Also, the thing in Arlequin's still on tap as of now, but nonetheless, I've gotten asked that a ton. But yeah, it'll be out in the next, I would assume, 3 to 4 days, but not yet. So I think it's only really the news that's happened today whatsoever. Basketball, Ole Miss plays Georgia at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning.
Yeah. I mean,
we spent some time on it yesterday. You can go back and listen if you'd like to.
I'll watch it.
It would be the moment. You and I said this. I don't remember if it was on air or off air. It's that moment where if we were not in a pandemic, we'd be looking around the pavilion in attendance. This is the game that would be dictating, people in, people out, where are we feeling on it? Now, it's irrelevant because only 940 people are in there. But
yeah, no, there's no question about it. They're kind of getting a bailout on that because I don't think there'd be many people there on a pretty Saturday.
John asks, is our baseball program success helping the football program? Well, I mean, it's helping you with Tywone Malone in a very micro way. In a macro way, the football team helps the baseball team. It goes reverse in multiple ways. A, you might get free players from a two-way sport athlete, and B, a successful football team rises everything. It rises academics, it rises enrollment, it rises baseball programs. It does a little bit of everything, if you care. So,
baseball helps football in a normal spring.
Yeah.
Because the atmosphere is cool.
For the visits.
And so they take the kids in and they're like, this is what this is like for baseball. Imagine what it's like when we're winning in football.
Mm-hmm. Were you at the ULM-Alabama game?
No.
Were you not?
So I'll tell you that quick little story.
Sure.
So I got fired from the radio station. So when people go, did you get run out of Mobile? No.
You still have your main job.
I still had my main job.
Which at that point was columnist or more investigative? Or both?
All of the above.
Okay.
I was the columnist, investigative reporter, covered the SEC, covered recruiting.
Yeah.
I just worked my ass off. Basically, in some ways, it was a relief because I had a life again. But so I got fired on a Wednesday. And on Saturday, I fly to Houston to cover Saints-Texans. And my flight was, I don't know, noonish, 1 o'clock. And I was fine. Laura was pretty down. I think we knew that Mobile was over. I think we knew that we might be there for another year, 2 years, but we were leaving. And she was stressed about money and what we were going to do. And because we treated the radio money as if it were her job.
Okay, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
And so she stayed home with Campbell and Caroline, and we just had Carson. Yeah, this is 07, so Carson was born in 06. Yeah, I mean, I look back on it and I think, holy,
Sure.
And but I land in Houston, and my phone was off, and I turned my phone on in the plane. You land, and my phone just blows up, just text, all these texts, and I'm thinking, what the hell? I can't even see them all. Literally, when I tell you there were texts, there were 100 texts. And this was before, like, iPhones.
Like I said, this was the phones where every individual text was a separate, you had to go to it.
It was popping up, and I'm getting these notifications. It's just, like, what happened? I mean, I panicked for a minute. And all these people are sending me texts that are like, ha-ha, and LOL, and I'm like, what? And
does it click, or do you have to see it?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it, but I can't tell what they are. It just was dizzying. And then it rings. And it was a guy in Mobile. His name was Bo Meganson. He was a big listener to our station and all that stuff, and big Auburn guy. And he says, you heard the score? And I'm like, man, I just landed in Houston. What are you talking about? He said, the ULM Alabama game. So the reason that I got fired was that Monday I said that ULM was a losable game for Alabama. That's all I said. I didn't say Alabama would lose. I said it was losable. I said Nick Saban's lost this team. This was his first team. ULM's not half bad. They had a pretty good quarterback. I can't remember the kid's name.
Because that was before, like, was it Dusty Bonner or whatever his name was?
Yeah, it was before that.
Okay.
I said they have a decent quarterback, and this could get weird. It's losable. And he goes, you've got to hear this. And so he plays the end of the game. ULM's up by 7, and Alabama's trying to drive, and it was like 3rd down.
Oh, so the game's not over.
The game's not over.
Oh, okay.
And so he lets me hear the end of it. Literally, as we're deplaning, I'm like loading my stuff, and I'm walking down the aisle. I'm actually letting people out because I want to hear it. And ULM wins the game 21-14. And it was so funny. I just remember getting like a rental car and just laughing. And I went and just got drunk that night in Houston.
But you have no idea what's coming. I mean,
no.
You wouldn't think it's going to actually escalate anything. Maybe somebody you're like, hey, Monday will be great. This is going to be hilarious.
No, I was already out. No,
sorry. I thought it happened the week after it actually happened.
No. I was out. I was done. And so what happens, I just laugh. Like, I got fired.
Oh, see, I always had that mixed up. I thought the game happened before all the hell went down.
No, all I said was on the Monday before that game that it was losable. And look, fired me on Wednesday because the Alabama boosters. It was McConnell Automotive, Terry Thompson Chevrolet. Terry, you can kiss my ass. Who's the other one? Gulf Distributing. Ivan Mazel's brother's business. He's a jackass too.
Really?
Yeah. And then the boss was Ken Johnson, who owns WNSP, was a big Alabama booster. And so they put the pressure on him.
Were they nervous because they didn't think Saban was going to work?
No. They just didn't want someone of my style down there who sort of called it. I mean, had they given that, the irony of it, God works in mysterious ways. The irony of it is, had they not done anything and then Alabama loses the game, I wouldn't have been like weird about it. I just would have said, see, I mean, I kept saying Saban's going to win at Alabama. This team's not winning. This team doesn't buy into it. And they started winning the next year. And I would have covered it the way I cover anything. So it probably was a good thing. It was
Well, yeah,
probably the last opportunity for that to happen. Otherwise, I would have stayed in Mobile. And when this opportunity came up, I would have never taken it.
Because you never covered Alabama went over Auburn.
No.
Auburn won every damn time during that.
I was on the air for 6 years in Mobile, and Auburn went 6-0 in the Iron Bowl. And I was a former Auburn beat writer. And so people saw that as you're an Auburn fan. I can't tell you how many times I covered an Iron Bowl as a columnist going, please let Alabama win. Dear God, I'll do anything. Just let Alabama win this one time. And then Auburn would smoke them. And Auburn was better than Alabama then. They had a better program. They were winning at a high level, and Alabama wasn't. Alabama had NCAA issues, and Auburn was recruiting Carnell Williams and Ronnie Brown and Jason Campbell and all these dudes. And it was what it was. And Tommy Tuberville's running around on the field holding up hands and fingers and needed 2 hands by the end, and I was like, this is not going to end well. And it didn't.
Because Tommy didn't rub it in at all. I mean, he went back to the locker room, didn't say a word. So
he ran around doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the whole thumb thing. I mean, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he had the thumb, and then he added a finger. And he might as well have used a different finger. So, I mean, it was for me, I mean, I'm a columnist, and I'm having to write the columns from these games. What the hell do you think I'm writing about? I didn't play. Auburn wins again. I'm like, what am I writing? Auburn's a top 10 team. Alabama's a dumpster fire. I mean, what do you think Tommy Tuberville and Auburn did to Mike Shula?
They hired Nick.
Yeah, and they hired Nick, and it was going to take a minute because Alabama was not in good shape when Nick Saban took over.
It took exactly 1 minute. It took 1 year.
It took 1 year. So it all kind of worked out. I mean, unanswered prayers and all that stuff. I mean, it's fascinating. Sometimes if I'm honest about like kind of my life, I look back on 2 or 3 moments like that, and I think, man, somebody up there was looking out for me. I just didn't know it, and there was no way to, somebody would have, if God would have come down and said, hey, trust me here. I know what I'm doing. It's going to be okay. But I can remember the night I got fired from WNSP, and you think, that's it. It's over. I don't know what we're going to do. And then you get the reputation for you got run out of Alabama. No, I could have stayed at the Mobile Register. They weren't firing me. I was their best columnist. I was the only columnist who actually wrote anything that ever had an opinion.
They were about to start leaking money, but yeah, that was
crazy, though. It was crazy times.
How did we get here?
I have no idea. I never know how we get into story time, and then we get going, and it's too late to look back.
No, I mean, nothing else going on.
People want us to talk about Chris Kiffin to Missouri. All I know is that it's being rumored that Chris Kiffin is on their list. Chris Kiffin is now the defensive line coach for the Cleveland Browns, so he's busy right this moment.
Yeah, that's right.
Here's the thing. I had heard Chris Kiffin to Ole Miss at one point, but the thing was, for him to do it, he had to be a coordinator, which makes sense. You don't leave an NFL D-line job
for a college D-line
to be a college D-line coach if things are going well. And Chris is highly thought of right now in the NFL.
He's had 2 NFL gigs. He's been around.
Well, in this gig in Cleveland, he's done really well.
And I believe, am I right on this? Don't you only need as a coach like 64 games for pension or something?
Yeah, something like that. So he's
getting close to a number, too.
Because he was in San Francisco for 2 years.
I think this is year 3.
This is year 3. So 1 more year, and he's kind of there.
He would be there, yeah.
Yeah.
32, 64.
Would he leave to be a coordinator? I think so. I think.
Yeah, that's a step up. But it needs to be a coordinator from a calling and not just a title.
Yeah.
It needs to be a legitimate coordinator.
And I don't think, based on my sourcing, and look, maybe I'll be wrong, I don't think that's coming open at Ole Miss.
It doesn't sound like it, no.
I mean, my sourcing's really good. Who knows? I'm not one, you know this, you've worked with me long enough to know I don't like always, never, and ever. I don't like those words. And so I'm not going to say I'm always, this source is always right. But I can't remember the last time this source was wrong. When it's this emphatic. And this source was emphatic that Durkin's not going anywhere. And so you're not bringing him in as a third co-coordinator. At that point, you're being ridiculous.
Yeah, come on.
So,
but that's, and I don't think that's enough of a gig, though. That's what I'm saying. I think he's got to be the dude.
He's got to be the guy, and Missouri has an opening for defensive coordinator, so that would make some sense for Chris, and that's supposedly he's on Drinkwitz's short list.
Lane is at least contemplating in-house promotions for both gigs.
Yeah.
Goodwin for special teams, and then Marquise Watson for defensive line coach.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be surprised if it's not Goodwin for the Blake Gideon job.
And while I don't know that I would predict it, I think Watson's candidacy is growing by the day. He's done a really good job with what he can do in the recruitment of Tywone Malone. Lane likes him. He's done a good job from a technical standpoint. Per people inside the program. I mean, It was just one game in 1 week, but they played a little better in the bowl game with him in charge.
Played a lot better.
Now, what does that mean? Hell, I don't know. That's not for me to say. But they think he's a rising star in the business, and it's how do you hang on to him while also maximizing what you need to maximize right now.
You put him on the field.
That's where they're at, yeah.
You put him on the field. That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's
your choices are that or overpay him as an analyst. Those are your two choices for a year.
Well, and I think they're going to have a hard time keeping Goodwin if he's not on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a big help for them in recruiting. He's a guy that knows a lot of people, long-time Alabama high school coach, was on the Auburn staff for a little while. You don't just go make a hire to make a hire. And if you never promote, people notice. And if you do promote, people notice. And it helps you get young people to come in or good people to come in as analysts.
Because I know they got a shot. Yeah.
People say, why would Bill O'Brien go to Alabama? Well, look at
the tree.
Look at the tree. Because it's a big tree with branches all over the place right now. That's why.
He's reclaiming everybody right now.
That's why. By the way, Steve Sarkisian, on his way out.
Yeah.
I mean,
they got any Texas Out Lebanon cons coming up? What we got going on?
Well, let me tell you this. If this, I just saw Grind said it, so I'm going to give credit. I was getting ready to say it, but Grind beat me. He says Sark has a hell of a recruiting staff at Texas Schematics. I did not know. I did not about defense. Yeah, the recruiting staff he's putting together at Texas is remarkable. And there's a lot of buzz that he's going to add Pete Golding.
Yeah.
Who I think's wanted out of Alabama.
Big say, I've heard a lot of rumors about Pete trying to get out.
Wanting out for a while.
For months now.
And Saban doesn't care. He just retools. Finds the next guy.
I mean, he could pluck Al Golden and just move him up right now and call it a day if he wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know that he does. Just saying he's there.
But if this staff can't make it happen at Texas, it's over, boys and girls.
You know the star is
This is
gone.
a really good staff.
It is.
I mean, whew. It's there.
But it all comes down to one question. Can you beat Oklahoma?
I know.
That's it. Can you beat Oklahoma?
It hadn't in a while.
Oklahoma's won 4 or 5 straight Big 12 titles. Oklahoma's got a quarterback back next year. He's not Baker or somebody, but Rattler's not bad. Got better as the year went on.
Yeah.
Played pretty well down the stretch.
Mark has no idea how right he is when he says this. He says, poor Mark, it's been another long week. Gives Jeremy Pruitt a nice landing spot.
Well,
it would do that.
It would.
I think people are trying to call. You want to take calls?
Yeah, whatever. Fine.
All right. I didn't have the Skype up on my page where I could answer it. Because we got that. That's the one audio thing we worked out. It doesn't blast our ears anymore.
Urban going to win in Jacksonville?
You saw what I titled the show, right?
Oh,
it's a great day for Domino's Pizza in Jacksonville.
Oh, God.
I don't know, man. He's going to have a rookie quarterback week 1.
He doesn't. To me, he's not an NFL guy.
Well, he's never been in the league.
I get why you take it, but.
Do you?
I mean, I get a coach taking an NFL gig.
No, do you get why Jacksonville takes him?
I mean, I like it better than just go retreading some other NFL coach that's already sucked 2 or 3 places.
Yeah.
Which is a mode.
Hey, caller, who do we have?
This is Rodney from Ripley.
Hey, Rodney from Ripley. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How y'all feel tonight?
Oh, we're good.
Listen, I've been watching y'all all week. Y'all been having some good shows this week.
Thank you,
But
Rodney.
what I've been trying to tell a lot of these idiots up here around Ripley, the most underpaid person in America, maybe the world, is Nick Saban.
I was
For
hoping you were
what
going to
he's
say
done in
me.
Alabama.
Saban is
y'all
the
agree?
most. Yes, Nick Saban is the most underpaid coach in America. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
The things he brings,
Okay.
not just to the program, but
Yeah.
to that entire university, is remarkable.
To the whole state.
Yeah.
And the whole SEC. You had Ole Miss try to raise their level, Mississippi State, and all of Auburn, and LSU, but I mean, just raised the level play all across the conference. But that's what a lot of these people, they just look at what he makes a year and they say, oh, he's overpaid. No, he ain't. They don't understand sport.
Well, they don't understand higher education. I mean, like Chase said, what he's done for that institution it's incalculable.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
Quality and quantity of every student that's come through that place.
Yeah.
The state, industry.
And what y'all, Neal, what you was, I think Chase too, you specifically was talking about, I don't know who you're talking about, that Dan fella, talking about this COVID-19, writing negative stories.
Dan Wilkins.
I agree with you 100%. But that's how a lot of people feel, how the media, how they done like Trump. I mean, I can imagine how a man goes through all that negative stuff for 4 years. But what she's talking about is exactly right. I mean, they should have just said that it was worth playing. That was a dumb question, what she's talking about the other day.
Was it worth playing?
Was it worth playing?
Yeah, was it worth playing? Yeah, yeah. It was very clearly worth playing.
Oh, there's no doubt. Well, all right, fellas.
All right,
y'all
Rodney.
keep up the good work. That's the best thing I ever done to get a Fire Stick. Now I get y'all. I'll be watching y'all every year now.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thanks, Rodney.
It works well with the TV. Thanks, Rodney.
Have a good night.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
I need to get a Fire Stick.
You need a Fire Stick?
I need to do something. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, who's this?
Brandon.
Hey, Brandon.
Hey, so you're going to find this real random, but I'm a National fan down here in Mississippi, but I grew up in D.C. I went to a bunch of the games and stuff like that.
Okay.
We lost Adam Eaton in the offseason, and I was really, really hoping for Carlos Correa or Ozuna, but we got Kyle Schwarber.
Mm-hmm.
And all I know about Kyle Schwarber is that he's a little slow, he's a below-average outfielder, and he can be an emergency catcher, and he's got a little bit of power. I was hoping to ask Carson, if y'all opened up the lines on the earlier show, can you talk me off the ledge with Kyle Schwarber?
Yeah, because I don't agree with your assessment just then. I actually don't.
Okay.
I don't think he's very slow. He's big, so people think he's slow, but he's not slow. He's not a below-average fielder. I think he's an average fielder with an above-average arm. He's got considerable power. His problem is that he strikes out a lot.
Got a lot of swing and miss.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a little bit of power. He's got light.
Go ahead.
He doesn't have a little bit of power. He's got like light tower power. I mean, he's a threat in, like, every time the Cubs would play in Pittsburgh. I mean, he's one of those cats that can put the ball in the river. I mean, he's got serious pop.
Yeah, he looked good in that home run derby. I guess it was 2 years ago with Bryce and Harper and all them.
Yeah.
If we can get his 19 year, because last year, I guess he had a down year, and I guess everybody did. You don't hold that against him. But that 188 scared me with that. With his 20 years, his batting average.
You talking about this past season? Yeah. No,
yeah.
He really struggled. I mean, the whole Cubs team struggled. I mean, that was weird. I mean, they won the division, but they struggled a lot. But there's, like Brett says in the thread, he goes, they all swing and miss a lot these days. I mean, Schwarber's one of those guys. Now, look, I'm a Cubs fan, and so there's a sentimental attachment to Schwarber because of what he did in 2015 and what he did in 2016, the home run that he hit against the Cardinals in 2015, where he hit the ball on top of the scoreboard at Wrigley in 2016, where he came back from the catastrophic knee injury and played in the World Series, and he had the leadoff single in the 10th inning that led to the 2-run rally that won the World Series. I mean, you're a Cub fan. And then Kyle Schwarber's a great human being. So you have a soft spot. $10 million a year. I'm mad at the Cubs, frankly, for letting Kyle Schwarber walk away. For $10 million.
With a mutual next year.
Yeah,
I think they got a mutual agreement next year. So.
Yeah, so I hope he does well. And he's a great guy. He'll play super hard and. The whole myth about him being an awful outfielder, that is nothing more than a 2015 NLCS Cubs-Mets where he had a couple of bad games and the media did what the media does, which is label you, and then you can't ever get rid of the label. He was a
Is that the game where he kicked the ball into the corner?
Yeah, they had a couple of bad games, and he was bad in that series, but he wasn't the only one that was bad. Jorge Soler was bad in that series. A bunch of guys were bad in that series. They got swept. They were young. They won the World Series the next year. And Kyle Schwarber would have been a big part of it, but he got hurt in like the third game of the year in Arizona, and then he worked his ass off to get back and was a big part of the World Series win.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel a lot better. Hey, I'll let y'all go, but the NL East is going to be good this year with the Mets getting Lindor. The Braves are probably the best team in baseball. Miami's looking better. And then you still got Philly. I don't know where the Nats are going to finish, and they've got a decent lineup. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you. Appreciate the call. I tell you, man, the whole – like you talk about the Saints, when this is over and all that stuff, you get sentimental about teams that win. And when the core's gone, like there's all this talk about the Cubs are going to get rid of Wilson Contreras and they're about to trade Kyle Schwarber. About to trade Chris Bryant. That's hard. Hey, caller, who's this?
Hey, this is David in Georgia.
Hey, David.
Hey, Chase.
Yes.
Man, we got to get you another hat. The Chair Force, man. Come on, man. Get you a Marine Corps hat.
I'll be happy to wear a Marine Corps hat. I wear whatever I get sent. We got Jackson State, we got Air Force, we got some bourbon
you can
stuff.
wear the Jackson State hat all day long. But
right.
just we need to get you something different than the Chair Force.
That's fine.
I mean, we got to get you a Marine Corps hat, man.
I got some Army shirts, but I don't have an Army hat.
Well, I don't give two craps about the Army.
Well, tell me how to get a Marine Corps hat. We can get that done.
All right, I'll have to look you guys up and get your address and send you a Marine Corps hat because, I mean, I spent 12 years in the Marine Corps, and I really don't care what anybody thinks about it. But the whole time I was in the Marine Corps, we considered the Army. There's only two branches of the military, okay, and that's the Army and the Navy, because the Air Force is a corporation and the Marine Corps is a cult. So. But I don't know if you guys have covered it. I just caught you guys tonight. But has there been any thought about a release on what Kiffin's new contract is? Or
would love to know.
I'd love to know.
Nuts. I want to know what he got.
Yeah, well,
and it's hidden behind the foundation, so it's not FOIable. They've got to release it for anybody to find out. So it's got to be an Ole Miss decision to put it out there.
Yeah, I know. It's just killing me because I'd like to know, what they're going to do. I'm pretty sure that Levy got north of a.
Yeah, I think Levy's will be known very soon, but I don't. But
Levy's, if I'm right, is a 3-year deal worth. I think it's 1.2 a year.
That's Levy's deal?
That's my understanding.
Oh, so it wasn't a 2-year deal; it was a 3-year deal.
I'm told Levy's deal's a 3-year.
Yeah, the new big assistant thing is to get that third year of security because they're basically fully guaranteed.
Now, look, is Jeff Levy going to stay 3 more years as an offensive coordinator?
No,
of course not. But he gets security.
Yeah, but it's security and plus I could be wrong, but is there a buyout now?
Probably not if he leaves to be a head coach.
Yeah, usually if it's a step up, that's removed.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, at least nobody. I mean, and maybe I'm just being the pessimistic Ole Miss fan, but nobody's going to hire him away as a coordinator. So, I mean, that's a good thing for us, and you know, I guess I'll ask you guys on the board for your address, and because I've been laid off since September, and I just got a new job.
Oh, congratulations!
I will absolutely buy Chase a Marine Corps hat so he can get that trash off his head that he's got tonight.
Sounds good.
And other than that, I'll let you guys go and have a good evening.
Thanks, David.
All right, bye.
Yeah, Nathan, that happens. Some schools don't hide it as much by the foundation, but you're never going to win any battle against getting the foundation to be public record. It's a private entity. And those are necessary because those are how you pay for a lot of things. So yeah, that's one of those deals that just.
The Levy contract means that you're going to keep him as your offensive coordinator unless the NFL comes calling for a coordinator or unless a head coaching job comes calling. That's what it means, which is great because no one's going to hire Jeff Levy if Ole Miss is going 3-9, scoring 6 points a game.
Sure. Brian, your question back there, I wouldn't take the bet, but if I had to, it had to be the threes because while I don't know that I could get it, there's no way in hell I'm hitting that many free throws, and as soon as you missed one, you would tense up and get all freaked out. So at least there's some margin for error on the other, even though it's harder. But one would be absolutely impossible, and one would have to get very, very lucky to be possible. So call it what it is. Yeah, we actually do have packages. We can do those here.
Oh, yeah, we do have packages.
Yeah.
You want to do one now?
Yeah, sure.
What the hell?
Yeah.
All right, so this one's from our friend Coach Nuke up in Valhalla, New York.
Speaking of branches of the military.
There we go. Good point. Look at you with the you didn't even know it, and you make the
segue right in.
Thank you.
That one opened up pretty easily, at least.
Well, he's got a package inside the package.
Oh. Really protecting this one with the post office.
I think you're about to have more Army gear.
More Army gear.
That's what I think. It's a letter. Hold on.
It's definitely some Army stuff.
Neal and Chase, I believe, already sent a D-line sprint shirt. So here are two. What you guys can decide which one you want. Cat receiver shirt or a something offensive line shirt. You guys should catch the Liberty Bowl with Army. Game should take only 2.5 hours. So this is an example of the mail.
We're a little late, huh?
Well,
the mail's been a problem lately.
The mail's been an issue.
Yeah.
Keeping it real. So you want us a long sleeve.
Okay.
I think they're both. You want long sleeve or short sleeve?
I don't care. Are they the same size or different sizes? Because we do wear different sizes.
They
so.
appear to be XL, and I think this is an XL too.
No, I don't care. No.
I'll give you the long sleeve.
Okay.
You're wearing a long sleeve shirt now.
I am.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that, as always. Isn't that funny? The mail that just got here the other day.
The back is actually pretty funny. It's got the hog on it.
Oh, yeah.
Anatomy of a dirt pig. Run blocking, win the trenches, pass blocking, imposing our will.
And mine's a receiver shirt. Let's see. Hang on, caller. I'll get to you in 1 second. Mine's a receiver shirt from Army. It says catch anything. Catch anything thrown.
Yeah,
which is good because that's better than just catch anything. Hey, caller, who do we have?
Hey guys, it's Lee in Navarre. How you doing?
Hey, Lee, what's up, man?
Hey, man, did you guys catch a little bit of the season the other night?
I've seen kind of just some highlights of it. I haven't really sat down and watched the whole episode.
Yeah, no, I skimmed through it too. I couldn't help but notice, man, I know there's a lot of momentum of guys coming back, and just a little bit of behind the scenes that you get, because I know you guys don't get a ton of access, but
That's putting it
those
nice.
guys genuinely do seem to like playing for Lane and coming back. The guys have committed to coming back. I think, any other year we probably don't get to play a top 10 team in a bowl game. But at the same time, I think it kind of went under the radar what those guys accomplished. Not to us, not to the fan base, but, I'd just like to hear your perspective on that. I mean, I know everybody knows there's a ton of momentum going into next year and certainly have red and blue glasses on, but I think it can't be overstated, that the importance of that game. It was a great win, especially to see those kids in the locker room and, what a lot of those seniors had gone through the last 4 years. To think some of those kids had been in the program since, the dark days of whatever that was, summer of 2017. But great show. I always enjoy listening to you guys' podcast and the show. So, I appreciate it, man. Keep up the great work. Really enjoy it.
All right, thanks, Lee. Appreciate it.
Yeah, look, I think most of the players like Matt Luke, but I think that there is a certain enthusiasm that comes with believing you can win at a higher level, that you're seeing something being built. Players feed off that. Players notice it. Players are not stupid by any means. They understand what direction things are going in.
Can't fool the kids.
No. In any way. And Lane's exciting. They know that you're recruiting at a level to get some reinforcements, and you're going to keep getting better.
He's also very consistent.
Mm-hmm.
He told them what practice would be like, and that's what practice was like. He told them that, hey, we're going to work on Monday.
And you got to prove it a little bit.
We're going to work on Tuesday. Going to do a little less on Wednesday. Then we're going to chill. We're going to have a walkthrough.
No sweat.
No sweat. What's it called? No Sweat Thursday or No Sweat Friday?
I think it's Thursday.
I think it's No Sweat Thursday.
Yeah.
The only people that sweat are the coaches because the coaches play the wiffle ball game.
Yeah.
He gets them off their feet.
They have 2 walkthroughs and a couple short but tough practices.
Yeah. And it's quick. And it's in the morning and you go. And once kids understand that, hey, this is how it's going to be, and he's not lying to us, okay. Hey, I'm going to ask for 90 minutes. Give it to me. And you get it. And if 90 minutes becomes 150 minutes, you're like, well, hold up.
Because that happened with a lot of other coaches we've covered.
Yeah.
Houston was the worst.
All of the coaches.
That's true. Yeah. The rest of them.
So you treat them, it's a professional environment. In the NFL, a coach tells hang on, caller, I'm going to get to you. An NFL coach says, hey, we're going to go for an hour and 40 minutes today. And that means we're going to go an hour and 40. It doesn't mean an hour and 42. It means an hour 40. You treat them professionally, and they start behaving professionally.
Amazing how that works.
Take a guess where he learned that. Because at Alabama, every Monday is the same as the other Monday, and the Monday before that, and the Monday before that, and the Monday from 5 years ago. And that's how you build culture. Hey, caller, who's this?
Hey, my name's Aubrey.
Hey, Aubrey.
Hey, sitting on the couch in North Carolina.
Which part of North Carolina?
Just moved to right south of Asheville, near Hendersonville, North Carolina. My wife and son are visiting in-laws, so I'm sitting at home alone in a nice quiet house watching y'all.
Oh, okay. That's near the mountains, right?
Yeah. Grew up in Mississippi, but made my way to the mountains.
Yeah, it's beautiful country up there.
Yeah, it's great. I was kind of piggybacking on that first caller. I found it funny on the Wolken rant when he kind of got roasted on Twitter the other day. When it's interesting when I agree with something Danny Cannell says.
Yeah, I'm with you.
He's gotten a little more palatable, but we're still there. So.
Yeah. Some of his things, it's
the shtick has played out a little bit
for a while. I couldn't taste anything he said, but it's not terrible now. But I just wanted to give y'all a shout out. Thank you all. You can ask my wife. Y'all have got me through this pandemic. I really appreciate y'all show and what y'all do.
Appreciate it.
Well, that's very nice of you. Really appreciate that. You guys,
Yeah, so
you
y'all
guys
do
got
that.
us. You guys got us through the pandemic too. So I mean, it goes both ways.
Well, good. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's people talk about the audio quality. Certain people on Skype just
There's
sound,
probably a better way to do it. We're just not 100%
Yeah.
sure what that way is.
Well, it's not the Ecamm way because they're already killing that.
Are they really?
Yeah,
That didn't work at all?
No, they got to totally revamp it. So I don't really know.
Can you run a straight phone line through it?
Probably.
I mean, I have no idea.
There's probably a better way, and I got to research it. It's one of those things that it's on the list. I mean, this notepad, it has list, and that's on the list. But I don't really know what it is. Sometimes Skype audio is okay, and sometimes it's not. FaceTime audio is better, but the problem is that it wires through phones, and I don't really want to put my phone number out there.
Let's not.
I just don't.
That's not a good idea.
And so,
we could do Google Talk, see how that worked.
yeah.
We could run a number through Google.
And that might be a good idea.
We have good internet. Try to do it all that way.
That's probably a pretty good experiment.
As long as it'll run through Ecamm, and we can figure that out, and I assume it will because Ecamm's pretty intuitive.
Pretty much everything runs through Ecamm, but Ecamm tried to run this interview mode, and
Okay.
it's just awful.
It was like their version of Skype, or
Yeah.
no, it was their version of Zoom.
Their version of Zoom, but it doesn't work. It's not good live.
We can start a Zoom thing, and let everybody come in. We'll just have a big powwow.
I actually thought about that.
Just mute everybody.
Mute
and unmute
everybody
one.
and hand raise them. I've given it thought.
It's not the worst idea.
No, I've looked at it.
I guess everybody knew this anyway, but Jared Goff will start for the Rams on Saturday. John Wolford has been ruled out for LA. So if they're going to win that football game, it's because Jared Goff played well. It's not because John Wolford did anything.
I don't like their chances.
It feels tough. It feels tough.
You could use your email associated with your Apple account if everybody is iPhone. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we could do FaceTime audio or whatever that way.
Yeah.
Eh.
Google Voice?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I think
Okay.
that's probably the next thing to at least try, because it runs all through the internet. As long as the internet's okay, I would assume it's fine. But phones can call it. I used to have a Google Voice number, but I don't think I do anymore. We can look at that.
Kenneth, thanks for the super chat. He says, what's your email? I just sent it to you. I don't mind putting my email out there.
No, that one's fair.
My email's a zoo anyway.
You get a lot of stuff.
I get a lot of emails. Yeah, not all favorable.
Adrian Peterson has been ordered to pay almost $8.3 million in summary judgment to a Pennsylvania loan company after a defaulted loan in 2016, records show. D'Angelo Vehicle Sales, LLC, sued Peterson in 2018 after the running back failed to pay back an initial sum of $5.2 million, including interest. In 2018, filed in the Supreme Court. They asked for 6.5, and they currently have gotten 8.2. So, yeah. $2,200 per day on the loan that has not been repaid.
Oh,
That'll leave a mark.
that'll hurt the credit a little bit.
Yeah, eventually that's going to pop. Interest rate started at 16%. It's been lowered to 9% now.
It's like the Ducks player who makes $11 million a year is filed for bankruptcy. Did you see that the other day?
No, it's
yeah,
not.
boy.
I mean, it's doable, but
So I got to pull the phones back up.
Peterson's been an interesting case.
He's an interesting guy, not in a great way. All right, phone lines are back open, 662-259-0991. What are your we did Neal's picks today. What's your confidence level on your picks? I know you picked Tampa because you're superstitious, but
Well, and I really, it was a screwed up deal all the way around because we only got like 7 games left unless you throw a lot of other stuff, and I'm 5 down. So it's kind of one of those deals too where if you're not winning, it doesn't really matter what happens.
right.
So the last 2 weeks, it has not been beneficial to me at all, but I'm picking games that I think could potentially get me a game more than even who I think is going to win. And I did that a little this week, too. Like, I took the Rams, even though I don't think the Rams are winning this football game.
You're either going to close the gap or be completely out.
Yeah, this week.
I
took the Chiefs to cover, the Bucks to cover, the Rams to cover, and the Bills to cover.
Yeah, I've got the Bills covering, the Saints covering. I've got the Browns losing but covering.
And you're the Packers.
And the Packers covering.
If somebody went undefeated, 3 games would change either way.
Right. Hey, who's this?
Hey, this is Chip in Nashville.
Hey, Chip, what's up?
Just calling in, boys. I'm probably one of the few actual Jaguars fans, and I'm just calling in to say life is good.
Oh, so tell us what we haven't really talked about it that much. We led the show with it, and then we got away from it because for some reason I started talking about the weirdness of my career.
Or it's your beef with Jax, but that's okay.
No, I mean I'm interested in this. So what do you think? I mean, what makes you think that Urban Meyer? This is not the college game. What makes you think that What makes you think that Urban Meyer can win with the Jags?
Well, there's a few points with it. So just the action of hiring him alone. I mean, I'm a pretty huge fan. You know every player on the team. Been a fan my whole life. All that good stuff. And I'm 26. So, and just obviously, we're not very good at all. I mean, Shad Khan's the quickest owner ever to 100 losses, I believe. So we just haven't been really given a whole lot. And so just the action of trying and thinking outside the box alone is enough. And just like in Jags Twitter right now and all of that, everyone is so united, I would say. It's one of those hires where if it doesn't work out, there's no one to blame. It just didn't work out. I mean, we're all happy about it. And so
Chip, are you more excited?
I'm happy with it. But in terms of football itself, I really do think it's going to work. And kind of one thing I think about is, everywhere he's been, he's won, obviously. And certain things that I want to argue against when people say that he, only recruits and that's how he had his success. Well, let's put Urban back at Utah, and he's having that exact season, and it was more accepted for college coaches to move up into the pro ranks like it is now. Well, when he was there, he's not having those kind of players. And so my point being is he's just a good coach, and in college, if you're a good coach, at some point you're going to end up in a good program where you're going to get good players.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, look, it's not. I mean, it's not a great comparison, but in some ways it is. You talk about doing things outside the box, you're being different. I mean, in some ways it's kind of like what Ole Miss did with Lane Kiffin. It's like, hey, you're in a weird spot. Why the hell not? See what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I'm sure y'all felt it in your work. It's like a shot of energy in you, just something like that. I mean, I've been in a great mood all day. I'm embarrassed to say how many times I've refreshed Twitter waiting for it to be official, but it is, and every single person is real all in. I mean, it's great. I mean, so having Kiffin and then Urban and, a year and some change getting hired, life is not bad.
Are you more excited about Urban or Trevor?
Oh, I mean, Trevor, that when Frank Gore got that freaking first down to beat the Rams and they won their first game, that was the craziest day of my life. I remember I saw that they were in the game and I went online and watched some janky, illegal stream to watch the Jets game, just freaking out. It was. So
you were pissed off at the Raiders a week or two before when they blew the coverage on purpose.
Yeah. I kind of just tossed out the idea of us even getting the first pick just because the Jets were so bad. But yeah, then that Raiders game, it was one of those. One thing I've kind of done this year that was actually really nice is, so I don't ruin my Sunday every day this year, I only watched the first game of the year with the Jags, and then we were losing the second one, and I just was like, I'm not going to waste my time, getting my hopes up or anything. And so I wasn't watching any football that day, but then I saw the freaking highlights of the Raiders game, and everyone on Twitter was losing their minds. And so I was honestly more mad when they lost to the Patriots on Monday Night Football, if you remember that.
Yeah, I don't. I could pretend that I do, but the
Jets were up like 10 with 3 minutes to go, and they blew it to Cam, and they won.
I do recall that now that you say it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What are y'all doing? I just happened to see that y'all are online, and I saw the Urban Meyer thing, and I figured I'm the only Jags fan. So,
why are you a Jags fan?
I'm born and raised there, and then I went to Ole Miss for undergrad, and now I live in Nashville for work.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know why Neal doesn't. I mean, downtown Jacksonville's really bad, but you got the beaches, the river.
That's a good start.
Through the whole city.
Yeah, I think it's because most of the time that I've been there, I've had to stay downtown, and it's like
and it's awful. You probably might have gone to the convention center or all the hotels there. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to do, but if you like, parks, river walks, beach, all that, it's good stuff. Yeah. And then you can go, South Georgia's right there.
No, I've probably been too hard on it, so I apologize.
You have it. I've been noticing it for years. I listen to the show every day.
The last time I went to Jacksonville, so I covered Ole Miss Dayton. It was Ole Miss Brigham Young in Dayton. Wasn't it Dayton, Chase?
Mm-hmm. Was that the second half game where they won?
Yeah. So they win, and I write, and I walk out of the gym in Dayton at freaking midnight. And I have to drive all the way to Nashville, middle of the night, to catch an 8 a.m. flight to Jacksonville. And I'm training for a stupid marathon. And anyone who knows me knows that if that's the day that calls for 7 miles, I'm going to run freaking 7 miles. And I was unconscious, and I'm exhausted, and I was not in a good mood, and I was hungry, and I was tired. And so I go down to the hotel gym, and I get on a treadmill and I run 7 miles as fast as I can to make it end. And then I go take a shower, and I go to that damn gym, and the NCAA people, it doesn't matter whether the game's in Nashville or Jacksonville or Ruston or Buffalo or anywhere, the NCAA is a pain in the ass. And they're checking your bag, and they're frisking you, and they're treating you like you're a freaking terrorist, and you're like, I just covered a game last night. Just make this go away. And and so I did that. I finally got through, and I covered the Ole Miss stuff, and I wrote, and we went to some pizza place, and it was actually good, but I was just so freaking tired, and it was humid. And I just.
And you're not exactly in the most beautiful part of town.
Yeah, and
You sound miserable right now. Tell them.
I'm over there by the Landing, is where I was, and
rest in peace, the Landing.
Is it gone?
It's gone. It's a park now.
Oh wow, yeah. It was,
good, some green space.
That's new news. That's only like a year old. So.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was not having its best day. Any place that the landmark place has a Hooters, it always tells you everything you need to know. And
well, hey, you give it another chance, but life as a Jags fan is good right now.
Well, good.
Everyone's losing their minds. Press conference is at 10:30 Central tomorrow.
Oh,
so we'll see what goes down. But just wanted to call.
Well, let me ask you this, because I mean, Urban, when he loses, he takes losses hard.
Yeah, and that's definitely, a worry for me. I'm not acting like that doesn't exist. My only, biased, hopeful thinking is that he's smart enough to also realize losing one game isn't the end of the world in NFL. So be smart enough to go into it.
Y'all got Domino's down there, right?
Even if you're really good, you still might lose 6 games.
Y'all got Domino's down there in Jacksonville, right?
Oh, that's what we do. They deliver. Okay. They'll deliver to his Ponte Vedra mansion that he gets, and he'll love it. Because I'm sure I will get many pictures every time we lose from all my Titans friends up here.
I have no doubt you will. All right, thanks, Chip.
All right, guys.
Bye. Yeah, I got to be nicer to Jacksonville.
You didn't
now.
skip hardly any marathon runs, did you?
Nope. No, if it called for a run, I did it. If anything, I added to runs.
Well, that's stupid.
It was stupid. But that day, I remember I had to run 8 miles. And I
that's
just
the last thing you wanted to do.
I just wanted to sleep. But I knew I had to go do it before the media thing. And so I got into the hotel and I went down there and just started running. I mean, I just wanted to cry that day. But I did it. I ran as fast as I could because I wanted to get it over with.
How far out were you on the marathon?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Which one was it?
Big Sur. The bad one.
Yeah. That's the dumbest one you've done.
Yeah, it was dumb. So I ran it. I was so tired. I think I went to bed that night at 7:30.
Really?
Yeah. I was spent. That was a day. Because I drove that night. The plan was I was going to follow Ben Garrett, and then Ben Garrett goes 95 miles an hour. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
You can't follow him.
I'm not doing that.
It's not even doable.
And so I got lucky. Another moment where I think God was looking out for me. I turned the MLB network on Sirius, and they had spent the day with the Cubs. And so all their programming was Cub stuff, and it's what kept me awake. And Jeffrey talked to me for 2 hours.
That's right.
I talked to Jeffrey from somewhere outside of Dayton, past Cincinnati, into Kentucky. I think he would have stayed up with me longer. I felt bad for him. And then I was okay until about Louisville.
And that was...
I just thought, I'm not going to make it. Shane wants to know any news on the assistant coach hires. Yes, we've got it, but we can't tell you.
It's classified.
No, we don't have it. Nothing yet. I kind of suspect a promotion, maybe 2, as Chase said earlier. Kind of what I think.
I'm looking at Saturday's SEC basketball games. Alabama's going to be 6-0 after Saturday.
They're good.
They got Arkansas at home on Saturday. They probably win.
Yeah, they'll beat Arkansas. That'll be 3 losses for the Hogs.
That will be 4 losses for the Hogs.
Is that 4 in the league?
They're 2-3 in the league.
Oh, wow. Ooh.
Yeah, early SEC records: Georgia 0-4, Ole Miss 1-3, Missouri 1-2, A&M 2-3, Kentucky 3-1, Auburn 1-4, Arkansas 2-3, Bama 5-0, Florida 3-2, State 3-2, Vanderbilt 0-3, Tennessee 3-1, SEC, South Carolina 1-0, and LSU 4-1. So,
did you see where CNN reported that a congressman grabbed a crowbar on his way to the Capitol the other day, but it wasn't a crowbar?
What was it?
They got the quote wrong. He grabbed a power bar.
Seriously?
He grabbed a protein bar. I'm not. This is not
political.
This is not political.
They said crowbar?
This is journalism. Yeah, they thought he said crowbar, and so they ran with crowbar. And it was like, no. It was a protein bar.
He was hungry.
Yeah. He just threw something in his bag in case he got hungry later. Oh, God. Yeah.
I didn't see that.
It's the greatest correction I've ever read. We previously reported that the congressman grabbed a crowbar, but it turns out that it was
a power bar.
It was it was a protein bar of some type. I think it was a power bar, but it was
whatever.
Yeah, something that said bar on the end.
Oh my God!
I mean, how many
crowbar turns into Larabar in like 10 minutes.
Exactly. How many protein bars end in the word bar?
Yeah.
I mean, like
every
75% of them.
Yeah. Oh my God!
What can you imagine when you get the call that goes, "You got the quote wrong."
Really wrong.
Bad wrong. He didn't grab a crowbar. Why would he have a crowbar in his office? He grabbed a protein bar. He was hungry.
Yeah, Nate Oates has done a really good job early.
Yeah, he's a stud. They're really good. They're well coached. G Bucket says, "What are my weekend plans?" I don't really have any. Kind of a quiet weekend. I mean, I guess
You'll have a little football on.
Oh, I'm going to watch the games. I'll watch the Ole Miss game at 11. I'll write 10 observations. If they lose, observation number 1 might be no one's reading this. Avery says enunciate. Yeah.
Well,
boy.
Maybe it's his fault.
A crowbar. Don't you have to double check that? Like, did you say crowbar?
Well,
like,
yeah, you think?
You're gonna. That's rough.
An Olympic gold medal winning swimmer was arrested for capital crime charges.
Really?
From last week. Cleet Keller, Olympic gold medal winning swimmer Cleet Keller, turned himself in to federal authorities after he was charged with 3 crimes for his role in the riot last week at the U.S. Capitol.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It just now popped across. So.
He said pro bar.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go down the political rabbit hole.
Keller, 38, 3-time Olympic swimmer who's earned 5 medals overall, including gold medals in the 2004 and 2008 Summer Games.
The moment you walked through the doors of the Capitol, you had to know you were a criminal at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Not the people who marched in the mall and held signs. That's fine. It's a free country. But the moment you went through the Capitol doors, you had to know.
1 felony and 2 misdemeanors.
Hey, who's this?
Hey, guys, it's Leif.
Hey, Leif, what's up, man?
Just out walking the dog. I wasn't able to join in as early as I usually do, but did y'all say anything about, this is the big story here in Kentucky, about what De'Aaron Fox said about John Calipari?
No, you can fill me in.
De'Aaron Fox said that John Calipari doesn't care at all about winning college basketball games. And it has lit this state on fire.
Because they're upset about it?
Yeah. I mean, people are already upset, just because they're playing so poorly this year.
I actually believe De'Aaron Fox when he says that. I actually believe that John Calipari's primary goal is to prepare players for the NBA.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I've been in Kentucky's locker room, and I mean, the biggest thing on their locker room is this huge mural of all the former Kentucky Wildcats that are in the NBA. I mean, it's impressive, obviously.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But, people here, they see B.J. Boston and all these other guys that came this year not playing up to what they were led to believe. And they're saying, well, why doesn't he just recruit Kentucky guys? And, people that want to be there for 4 years. And, for the most part, it has worked. But the last couple of years, the one and done with Kentucky and Duke, the 2 teams that do it the best, they're not getting those elite players like they used to. So, but the most interesting thing for me this year has been, I usually help out with the youth league here, and it was canceled. So, used to, I would just watch so much bad basketball, just watching youth just jack up terrible shots and dribble the wrong way. And, I could watch Ole Miss basketball and it'd be tolerable. But I can't bring myself to watch it now because it's literally the worst basketball I'd watch. So, I don't know.
I find the college game difficult to watch. And I don't know, people say, well, maybe it's the fans and all that stuff, and I'm sure that's part of it, but I can watch NBA and because the quality of the game is different. But I watch the college game, and it's hard. It's difficult to watch at times. And when you see a mediocre college game, it's for me, it's almost impossible to gut through.
Yeah, And you know me, I love the NBA. I always get the league pass, and I haven't got it yet just because these games in empty arenas.
It's hard.
It didn't matter in the bubble. The
Right.
bubble, I was just excited.
Yeah.
And it just felt different. But I don't know, man. And the fact that the Thunder should be tanking, they can't even tank right. What do you think about James Harden being on the old Raymond Felton diet?
James Harden he looks like an offensive guard.
The fattest NBA player I've ever seen. Like, he looked like, I remember seeing him one time in a Thunder game, and I was like, that dude's a rec league player right there.
Well, you know, when you get a little older and you gain a little weight, you tell your significant other, there's just more of me to love. So far, Harden's saying there's just more of me to foul.
Did you see the one guy I think it was on SportsCenter that said, just doesn't look like he's missed a pregame meal.
Well, he hadn't missed a meal.
No.
Well, the good news for him is that he's headed to New York and there are no strip bars there, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. And I think in Brooklyn they get to play with 3 basketballs instead of just 1. Is that right?
Yeah. You know, Carson and I did our Chasing the Ring podcast a little earlier this evening, and I swear to you, I think he's right. He thinks Brooklyn was better off before this trade or better off before Kyrie comes back. Kevin Durant's game is such that it works with just about anyone. But I tell you that, I said this on the show, one of the things that really bothers me is when people say, well, Kevin Durant and James Harden have played together before. And they have, technically, but the James Harden that played in Oklahoma City and the James Harden that played the last few years are two completely different people. They're two completely different games. James Harden in Oklahoma City was a more athletic, younger Manu Ginobili.
Yeah.
James Harden in Houston was James Harden. And is he capable of going back and being Ginobili? Is he capable of going back and being a facilitator? Is he capable of going back and being this selfless player that he was in Oklahoma City? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, yeah. Well, we know Kyrie's not. I mean,
well, you know, Kyrie is who
he's not selfless.
He is who he is. I mean, Kyrie is the one guy. I mean, give Kyrie credit. He's never met a mirror he didn't love. Kyrie is the guy that said, I don't want to play with LeBron because I'm better than him. Nah, bro. Nobody's better than him. But he thought he was.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, Kevin Durant is extremely talented, but he also has that mentality, and a lot of people don't understand it, that he's a follower.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the thing that I think is going to be the most interesting is if they can play as a team and they can all 3 get along together, it'll be great. But if he's going to follow either Harden or he's going to follow either Irving, it's going to be a disaster. So
no, I agree.
I don't know.
I agree with you.
It's interesting, but I don't know. But hey, it'll be. I'm just hoping that the NBA arenas will get started to get filled up soon, and I can get back to watching it more often.
I hope so too. I mean, I picture like a Boston-Brooklyn series, and I want fans in the stands for those.
Yeah, well, I mean, I even saw that. I guess ESPN got lucky. Martin Luther King Day, they have Bucks versus Brooklyn, and that's
Oh, it's a good game.
With Harden just coming on the team, it'd be great if there'd be a lot of fans. But
for sure.
Unfortunately, it's not going to be.
Hey, thanks for the call, Leif. Appreciate you.
See y'all.
Can you get 5 of the 7 teams Raymond Felton played for in the NBA?
Knicks, Thunder.
Knicks twice.
Pacers.
is incorrect.
Okay. Raymond Felton. Mavericks?
Yep. You remember who drafted him? Played 6 seasons with him. 5th overall pick in 2005.
Raymond Felton.
The Charlotte Bobcats.
Charlotte.
Charlotte, New York, Denver, Portland, New York,
Denver,
Dallas, L.A., Clippers, Thunder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, who do we have?
Yo, Grind.
Hey, Grind. What's up, my man?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just, taking it easy, taking it day by day. Enjoying the show once again, man.
Thank you.
First show of the off-season, officially.
Yeah.
Official off-season.
How's everybody in Alabama? Was won another title?
Walmart packed and everything. I mean, it's
funny you say that, man, because I was just leaving the gas station, and it's a little white lady that I always tie around with when I'm in there. She was talking about the game, and I was just so happy that Waddle got to play. I'm like, all right, I'm like, baby, as long as you enjoyed your championship, that's all that matters.
Oh, man. It says something for their culture that all those guys want to play.
Hold on. What you were saying there?
I said it does say something for their culture that those guys want to play. I mean, it does. It says something for what they're doing that Waddle wanted to play, that Dickerson wanted to play. These are guys that are going to play in the NFL. I mean, Waddle's a top 10 pick, and he's out there.
That makes sense to me.
I know. I'm with you. And yet all these NFL guys are like, dude, get off the field. And they want to play it. I don't know what it says for their culture. I haven't decided, but it says something.
Yo, come on. Like, okay, Chase and Neal.
Yep.
If y'all were the father of Jalen Waddle, y'all wouldn't have let him play? Like, if I'm his dad, I'm like, no, bro. You're not playing today.
I know. I've had this conversation with people, and people get mad at me, and I've had it asked exactly that way, and to me that's the right way to ask the question. If that's my son and he is weeks/months away from generational wealth, and when you go in the top 10 in the draft, that's generational wealth, and he's coming off of an injury, am I risking it? And the answer is no.
No. I don't care what Alabama, Nick Saban, no. I don't care about none of that.
At most, you do what Landon Dickerson did. Warm up with them, be careful, and then if you want to get in on a knee, have at it at the end. All good. Stand there and walk around for a minute.
Yeah. You can go. Yeah, you can skip in the confetti. Be careful. Don't slip on nothing.
Yeah.
That just didn't make any sense to me, because I'm watching him just limp off the field, and I'm like, I'm like, man, why is he out there? But if hey, they risk it for the card. I guess that's if you got 5-star players, doing that, it's a reason why you don't want 7 of the past 13 championships.
Exactly, and I don't know how I exactly feel about it. It's a weird thing, but when you have guys like him who's projected as the 7th pick in the draft, the 8th pick in the draft, and I mean, hell, Devontae Smith wins
because he wasn't hurt at the time.
Yeah, Smith wins the Heisman, and he deserved to win the Heisman. Don't get me wrong; he had a phenomenal season. But you could have made the argument in week 2 or week 3 that Waddle was better.
Yeah, I would have told you Waddle was better.
Yeah, and so he played because, in part, not all of it, but in part because he wanted to play, and so it's crazy. But it says something for it does say something for the culture there that they're able to get guys to come in and wait their turn. I mean, we talked about Mac Jones, and frankly, Mac Jones has been so overshadowed by his receivers this year that people don't even pay attention to the numbers that he put up. This is a guy that waited his turn. I mean, not only behind Tua, but he waited his turn behind Jalen Hurts before that.
Let me ask y'all this. Does Greg McElroy or AJ McCarron do what he does, this year in his offense?
Greg doesn't. AJ maybe. I mean, AJ had a nice NFL run. Is he still in the league?
I think he is. I think he's backing up somewhere.
Yeah, you don't stay in the league that long if you don't have a little something going for you. But But look, I think Jones is terrific. I mean, Jones could have gone to Kentucky or someplace and been a 3-year, 4-year starter, and he's going to be a first-round pick.
Yeah, Chase crossed his fingers. He may end up the same.
It's not the worst fit in the world. I mean, we didn't talk about him. I'd rather have Kyle Trask, but it's not the worst fit in the world.
Yeah, now I understand that. Yeah, I'd rather have Kyle Trask too. He just looked better. I get you on that. Man, what's going on with this LSU DC stuff, man? Because I listen to
we
Matt
forgot to
McConaughey
talk
today.
about
He's
this.
talking about Arnett. LSU didn't offer Arnett or whatever, or something like that. And I'm like, man, that don't sound right.
If you've seen anything in the last 2 hours, you're ahead of us. When we were starting the show, I was seeing where a lot of LSU media people were saying that they were trying to work out the kinks and get it done.
Talking about with Arnett?
Yeah.
That he was going to go to LSU, and I'm further behind Chase because I did that show with my son on the basketball show, and I was completely.
That was on our message board around.
I was disconnected
6:30 when I looked.
Yeah, I've been disconnected since about 4:00, so I don't know what all happened.
Okay. See, I haven't checked nothing. About past 2 hours or so. So last thing I heard from that was the little podcast I had listened to Matt Moscona. So
what did he say? Because Matt would know. What did he say?
He was just like that. Obviously, Zach Arnett flew down to LSU interview, but he had said that if the interview, if Zach Arnett would have checked all of Ed Orgeron boxes, that he would have. Zach Arnett would already be the DC. So obviously, Zach Arnett didn't check all the boxes that Ed Orgeron wanted. Huh. And he had said, which is a good thing because that means Ed Orgeron is doing his due diligence. But I'm just like, I guess.
I'm with you there. I don't. Arnett.
If you can get Arnett, you get Arnett.
Yeah, Arnett very clearly knows that his stock isn't going to go down. He's making sure he doesn't go someplace that's a sinking ship.
Yeah. I agree on that because he can stay at Mississippi State and just look good and get somewhere else.
So Jacob French says he interviewed for Texas today, and I thought Texas was going to hire. I don't know. I'm clearly disconnected now. Earlier in the day, I was told Texas was going to hire Golding.
Okay.
So maybe that didn't happen. I don't know.
I thought they did hire Golding.
Well, I thought they were about to.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll say my little tender story for next time I call in. But one thing I was thinking about this week, man, is Jimbo going to go down as a top 5 coach in his era in college football?
Got to win a title.
You got Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, Bob Stoops,
Dabo. I mean,
did you put Les Miles above him?
No, but Les has a title. Look, he's got for him to get in that conversation. He's got to get. When you
look at the career, when everything's settled, like when they're both done coaching, and you just looking at their careers, I wonder what that Les Miles at LSU looks like compared to FSU, Jimbo at FSU.
Yeah, so I think he's got to win one at. I think he's got to win one at A&M. If he wins one at A&M, then immediately yes.
You think it takes 2 titles?
Because of the way Florida State ended?
What you think, Chase?
Well, I'm trying to think who else I'm putting in it is more the question. Like, who are we competing against? I mean, because he does have a resume where if he's the default answer, that's cool. I have no problem with it. I'm just trying to think if we're forgetting somebody off the top of our heads.
The only other name, Peterson came to mind in Washington.
Okay.
Well, he didn't win a title.
He didn't win a title, I know.
I mean,
Saban's dominated the damn game so much that here's my point though: is if it almost feels like you got to get a second championship.
But nobody else had a second championship. Because we're about this era. What is this era?
So I think what we're saying is what I'm saying, Grind, is
if when Jimbo, I'm just basically doing it from when Jimbo has became the head coach at Florida State to now. So basically everybody who's been a head coach, in that tenure with him.
So since 2009.
So to me, there's a tie for fifth.
Yeah, but look though, even though Les Miles didn't win that championship, past 2009, he was still coaching. So I'm still counting that 07, as part of his resume at LSU.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, see, that's my point, is that you go back to Urban winning in 06 at Florida.
Yeah.
All the way until now, the only people that aren't Alabama and Clemson who've won a title is Jimbo, Les Miles, and Urban. That's it. Again,
Saban has.
that's it.
Saban,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot. Grind. Gene Chiswick is there.
That's kind of my point. You almost have to include.
But Jimbo's better than Gene. I mean,
yeah,
that's not a conversation.
No.
If Gus Malzahn would have won the title in 2013, would y'all have put him in there?
He'd have a very similar resume to Jimbo.
It's Jimbo Fisher unless you want to go back one more year. And
well,
then it's Matt Brown.
And if Gus wins, Jimbo doesn't have one. Exactly. Right. So if Malzahn wins, I'd put Malzahn in there in front of Jimbo. That's what I mean. So you can make the argument for Jimbo. My point is that as it would be for anyone else, it's sort of a weak argument. It's like debate class where you're like, okay, this is your assignment. And you look at it and you're like, ah, damn.
There are four, and then it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, frankly, there's one.
Well.
And then there's a couple other dudes, and then there's nothing.
Yeah. Really.
Saban's dominated the sport in a way that
Les Miles, him, as of right now, I can't think of anybody else.
Mark Angelo says Mac Brown.
It's Mac Brown if you go back to 05.
Yeah.
And if we're counting Stoops, then we probably have to some extent.
Yeah,
so,
if we're going to count Stoops, if we're going to put Stoops in there.
Mac Brown had a hell of a team.
Still one title.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's one title.
Played for another one.
So if we're going to do, and
but I think
probably would have won it.
I kind of like Matt Brown's tenure, maybe a little bit better than Jimbo's at Florida State. But I'm not sure if I like it better than Les Miles. I mean, he basically did the same thing, won a title, then lost to Bama in the title.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
That's my point. I'm
good either way there.
The answer is there is no top five. It's a top four. Truth is, it's a top one.
Really?
He's
unfortunately, and he's just running over here. Hopefully,
he's doing
man.
He's doing in the modern. He's doing in the modern era. He's doing in the modern era what John Wooden did at UCLA.
Which is,
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, what he's doing is incredible. So
yeah.
It sucks.
Hey, and by the way, I'm gonna just say this, and I'm gonna let somebody else call in, man. Sharif Cooper has really showed out, boy. I did not know he could ball like that.
He's terrific. He's a total game changer for that team. Just night and day. Yeah, yeah. No, he makes them a tournament caliber team. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
The last thing here that Orange Bloods has on their D coordinator, Jeff Ketchum at 5:40 today. Orange Bloods can confirm Zach Arnett is interviewing with head coach Steve Sarkisian via a Zoom call at this moment. So that was at 5:30 this afternoon.
How about that?
For him. So.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Mark. Real quickly, just two questions for you guys. First question is Kermit Davis, did he not do better with Andy's recruits, number one? And number two, I know they're not going to fire him this year. Is he on the hot seat next year? I did not see the first 30 minutes of y'all's podcast. I'll watch it in full tomorrow. Okay. But I would just like for y'all to answer those two questions, and I'll hang up and listen to y'all's answers.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
To this point, Kermit's done better with the team he inherited. I think it's pretty obvious.
He's not on the hot seat as of this moment. Look, it depends on what this season goes. If they're 5-13, 4-14, something like that. Yeah, he's on the hot seat going the next year. I mean, there's no way around that because you can't. You can't just have 3 losing seasons in a row at this level and expect it to work. It just doesn't work like that. So yeah, but. Here's the other thing is that, what does the money look like? How much money are you Keith is going to be faced with a difficult decision, Chase, at the end of the season. Let's say it goes 5-13.
Mm-hmm.
Do you extend him? Because if you don't extend him, you're laying the groundwork for the other. And if you do extend him, you're increasing the buyout.
I think you can use the current economic situation and not extend him. Basketball was expecting off tickets this year to make about $2.5 million.
They're going to lose.
They're making, gross.
Yeah.
They're making $250,000.
Are they even making money?
Well, you have 940 seats that you've sold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's between $200,000 and $250,000 in gross revenue. And here's the thing: all your expenses, they still exist. You might cut down a little security, but scholarship, food, arena operations, those are what they are. So, yeah, that's just the way that's it. He didn't extend Mike. So it's doable.
No, I know.
It's one of those deals.
He's laid the groundwork for doing it.
Yeah, I know.
The problem if you don't extend him, I don't know.
I get it. It's not an easy deal.
If you don't extend a basketball coach, can he recruit? Because the last time they didn't do that, you absolutely castrated the previous coach.
You did. I will say the one thing, and Andy gambled, and it's whatever. You can extend somebody without changing the buyout.
You can, yeah.
True. If everybody wants to actually hang around and do it, that is doable. You're not beholden to do contracts the way Ole Miss has just always done contracts.
Right.
Hey, here's your year, but we're still only giving you 2.2 when you get fired.
For the record, I still say that was completely bogus BS.
What's that?
The way they
Andy
handled
thing?
it. The way that
yes.
Ole Miss handled Andy.
Yeah.
If you're going to fire him, fire him.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't castrate the coach.
Yeah.
To Andy's credit, that's essentially what he said. If you're firing me, fire me.
Mm-hmm.
I work at your leisure.
Sure.
But don't humiliate me. There is no obvious hire after Kermit.
No, there's really not.
What you're going to hear a lot is a lot of Mike White, and a lot of Mike White. And I like Mike, and I'm about to hang myself here.
No, you're not.
I like Mike a bunch. Mike's a good guy, and I consider him a friend, and I like him. But if Mike's taking the Ole Miss job, it's because things aren't going well at Florida. And if they're not going well at Florida, what makes you think they're going to go well here?
Much easier gig.
Got resources at Florida. Quotes, resources. You play on Billy Donovan court at Florida. They've won there.
Back to back.
So if you don't win it,
and he's made an Elite Eight.
Yeah, he's done well.
Made a couple second rounds.
So if he's open to taking the Ole Miss job, it's because he feels the heat at Florida.
Yeah.
And if he's winning at Florida, he's not leaving there for Ole Miss.
Kevin White kind of wanted all of his kids in one area. Florida.
Yeah, castrated. Mark says, I would know nothing about a coach being castrated, Neal. It's hard times in Knoxville these days.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, here's the thing. Andy Kennedy's a really good basketball coach. Kermit Davis is a really good basketball coach. It's
hard.
They're both really good coaches.
It's just freaking hard.
This is not an easy job. And if you get really real about it, and I'm reluctant to do it on audio that's being recorded, if you get really real about it, it's a really hard job.
And harder when football wins.
And when football wins, it gets really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And football's about to win.
Yeah.
And the excitement's for football. And that makes it difficult.
Yeah.
It might make it impossible.
It's tough.
You have a nice facility. It's a really nice facility. The pavilion's great. I don't know that any kid's going to go, I'm going to go to Ole Miss because of the pavilion. So it gets kind of squirrely.
Yeah.
It's a hard job. You've had two really good coaches. This isn't I mean, you've had two really good coaches. I mean, I'd love to see what AK would do at a place where there were resources.
Sure. Yeah. You always wonder about him at like a Big Ten gig or something where
give Andy the Ohio State job and see what happens.
Yeah.
I'd be interested.
Yeah, I know. Me too. That's what I've always thought about.
He coached at Ole Miss all those years, and there were no resources, and there was the Tad Pad. I mean, a women's game got rained out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did.
I mean, the greatest Andy Kennedy story ever is he calls David Brandt, who was at the AP in Mississippi at the time. He says, David. He calls him out to midcourt at Tad Smith Coliseum, and he goes, look up. And David's like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm sure David's thinking he's going to hit me. And he looks up, he goes, you see that blue dot? And David goes, yeah. And he goes, that's the sky.
Like I said, he would always fake cough and go, sorry, asbestos.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hard job. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'll tell you this. I hate this part of Chase knows where I'm going. I hate this part of the job where you're covering what feels like a lame duck season.
Mm-hmm. The lame duck season without the lame duck coach is
And Kermit cares.
Yeah.
Kermit wants to win.
Well, that's what happened the other night. He was frustrated. He was
really pissed off.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, someone should have stopped him and said, hey.
Take a minute.
You're mad right now. And you're about to go do a Zoom call that's going to be recorded. And you're going to be quoted because you're on the record.
Take a minute.
Calm down. Go chew a stick of gum for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a shot of bourbon. No joke.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah.
And he was angry.
Yeah.
So Ole Miss and Georgia.
11 a.m.
11 a.m. on Saturday. I'll have coverage, whatever that looks like. This whole covering a basketball team without being able to go to a basketball game, and I could go, but there's no real reason for me to go.
Sure.
Is weird. Suspect you'll see the same thing in baseball. If you're going to a baseball game and then you're talking to the people on a Zoom call that are down there 100 feet from you, it's just really weird. Mm-hmm. Chase will have baseball schedule news to you
whenever
later when it becomes available. Grind says JG covered a lame duck for 3 years. I covered Bruce Pearl at the end. I mean, not Bruce Pearl. Cliff Ellis at the end. Boy, that was weird. Anyway, we'll be back on Monday with another edition of Oxford Exxon Podcast. We'll have this to you in podcast form on Friday, sometime fairly early, midday, whatever. So we'll have that to you. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the NFL playoffs, and we'll be back with you with another edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast on Monday. For Chase, I'm Neal. Take care.